For what they do professionally, like Roger wearing certain tennis shoes, or it can be simply Roger with the Rolex on his wrist as a status symbol. Hey, you want to be like Roger Federer and wear Rolex. So that's second degree. Third, and very important for what we're going to be possibly even more important for esports and for traditional sports, is the idea of this brand equity potential being transferable up and down levels of the hierarchy. So additional first or second degree brand equity that's contributed by the entity to other pyramid levels. So part of a star player's brand equity is what they're going to bring to the team. All right, that team's logo gains value in a lot of cases in the short run, and in some cases like Derek Jeter and the Yankees, like Michael Jordan and the Bulls, in the long run via that player's association with that particular team or franchise. It can also go the other way. It can go down the hierarchy as well, that players can gain a lot of enhanced visibility after joining a large market team like the Yankees. You know, an average player on the New York Yankees arguably ends their career with a lot more earning potential based on their personal brand than a player on a small market team. And there's been a lot of theory about how that can affect contracting and how that can affect player salaries and league revenues as well. If we were still at a business school, the business school culture is all about acronyms, and we would do something like make up a clever acronym. We would make up something like BEEP, brand equity earnings potential, and be very proud of ourselves. We're going to stick with brand equity itself for now, with the understanding that brand equity can refer to value created in a product or affirmed by the brand, or it can refer to a player or a team's or league's capacity to generate brand equity for the products or the firms that they maintain relationships with. Okay, esports. So brand equity in esports is even more complicated than we're talking about for traditional sports for a couple really interesting reasons, at least interesting to me. So first of all, third-party sponsors are looking, in traditional sports, we talked about this, they're looking at multiple potential points of entry and what makes the most strategic sense for them, what offers the biggest bang for their buck. In esports, all right, there are even more potential points of entry. There are complex interactions between all of the potential parties in this equation, from pro players to the sponsoring teams and organizations to tournament organizers, the game developers themselves, all right, that are manufacturing their own products that become esports, and the customers and the player base. There are a lot of developers right now, for example, asking the question, we have a game that we think is really good. How can we facilitate it becoming an esport? Because there is all of this additional economic possibility once that happens. Third-party sponsors are usually going to be looking at relationships on this half of the wheel. And by the way, the game developers themselves, adding another layer of complexity to this, become in some ways third-party sponsors when they use one title to promote their other titles. But again, we're going to abstract from that for now. So there have been a number of sponsors that have tried out different points of entry. Red Bull is probably the best known for developing relationships with individual players like Bjergsen here from LoL, and hopefully I'm pronouncing all the names right. I am a Dota 2 guy, and Nadeshot here. They've had individual relationships with Red Bull on an ongoing basis. Demon from our Dota 2 scene has had a relationship directly with Red Bull as well. They're one of the few prominent firms that has gone out and sought to forge relationships with individual players. A little bit more common are relationships between third-party sponsors and teams or team sponsors. So you see here the partnership between Xfinity and Evil Geniuses. There's even I've thrown in a Maxinomic chair here for good measure. All right, another brand sponsor that chooses to associate with a team sponsor. This is fairly attractive for them because, again, unlike the players, the esports player base is becoming a bit more unified, but it still is quite fragmented. Players are going to have a presence typically in only one corner of the esports world. These two guys are some of the few exceptions that are well known, I think, throughout esports, regardless of the community that you're in. The other possibility, which we've seen recently, is partnership with tournament organizers. Like it was just announced yesterday that Mercedes-Benz is partnering with ESL One, and that their first focus event together.
It's now, it's never, and I've got to make my decision. This time could be my moment. If this a mirage or a chance to fulfill my mission, I'm living in a dry land.
Cómetelo, cómetelo.
The land is in a lost land. A
Wow.
heartbeat for demon. A
Wow.
waste in a she's land.
Yo le voy a dar 2.
I'm giving the balance, but I'm standing on razor's edge now. Real quick, all my life is over.
Yo me lo voy a llevar, ¿ah?
One strike just a pain, then I'm out of his field. Vision. Don't ask if I'm ready, but I'm ready to strike him down now. I just saw the new stars. There's no time for indecision. I'm living in a dry land.
¿Qué quieres en bichado?
The land is in a lost head. When I
Oh my fucking god. Yeah, sure.
My heart is a furnace, had a selling my word of conflict. One goes what keeps me going. Take back what I lost to the bosses of greed and fear. Don't ask if I'm ready, but I'm ready to take them down now. The time for a new start is constantly drawing nearer. A river in a dry land. The land is in a lost head. When the hope of new beginnings burned out feet. Now we need it.
He doesn't have sperm, so. I think it's better.
Gotta clear my head of anger and read a place to refresh. Heart and mind, can I find some
Silencer's TPing somewhere.
Just run down, dude, next time. It's okay.
どこから話せばいいんだろう。待ちくたびれても終わりだなんて言わせないから書き殴った無意識の衝動を連れて何もかも壊したら不可能を走ればいいんだ。There's a reason that we came across in this
Magnus is almost mid.
There's a reason that we call the magnetic wave 傷つけ合う世界はどこへ。そう愛のために泣けるのは君がそこにいるから君だけを呼び続けるから愛のために歌うのそして共に生き抜くことずっと君と青色した空と波一つない鏡のようだ海を見てたどんな場所に立ってどんな形になってどんな
I'm gonna push bomb tower. Can you help me with that? Let me get level 6 there.
Supports are missing.
I need level 6. Try not to leech if you can.
そう愛のために進むのは君とここにいるから僕だけが君を守るから愛のために願うのはそして誰も傷つけずにずっと
Can you just take bottom lane? I'm gonna go to cancel one. Can you smoke me? Can you get your smoke out? Throw a slash shot, get your smoke out. Actually, fuck it. Let this push.
僕らは超えてゆく全ての憎しみを偽物の正義など捨ててしまえ
Coil was used top. Down.
愛のために泣けるのは君がそこにいるから We'll be always be together 愛のために進むのは君とここにいるから僕だけ
No creo que muera, tío. Ganaste el duelo, pero que chucha. No. No.
Mag is on TP. We probably gotta go.